So what skills and seals do I put on my brave Lynn?
Welcome to the very first episode of the Lucky Crit Fireside Emblem podcast. Today we're joined by longtime friend, Broheem, Lucky Crit co-creator, Cameron. Welcome.
Yo.
And we're going to get right into it and just start talking about heroes. So, have you refined any weapons yet? I guess is where I'll start off.
No.
Because it's kind of a big deal. I like that, some of these forgotten units are finally getting a little bit of a boost. And maybe they'll be able to stand up against some of the top tier stuff. You have any thoughts about who you're going to refine the weapons for?
I don't know. I haven't really had the time to look at anybody yet. I haven't even really taken stock of my roster. After that, we got that nice little boost of 100 characters, and I had a ton of orbs saved. I just went nuts and filled it. I haven't maxed out or anything, but I have no idea who's in there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably do that first, and then see who needs some loving.
We got a nice little orb injection today for it winning Game of the Year this year, which is pretty cool. So that was nice of them.
Yeah, good on them.
They have been pretty scummy lately with the banners. Have you felt that way?
Well, I don't know. I'm in two minds about it. Because on the one hand, looking from the consumer perspective, yeah, it looks pretty bad, right? Especially with, what's her name? Ira? That's just the one name I can't get. I understand from the consumer end, but I think on their end, or at least if I were to give them the benefit of the doubt, it could just be that they're just trying a new business strategy, or they're just trying something new. You always want to increment change when you can, maybe slip little things here and there and see, how people receive it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, clearly there was, at least in the community, there was probably more negative feedback than positive, so they'll just learn from that. Or maybe they won't, I don't know.
They may have learned a little bit, because with Rajat, they basically just did the same thing, with putting her in a separate banner, but at least there's no other green in that banner.
I mean, if you just look at the history so far for a gacha game, it's it's pretty benevolent, all things considered, right?
Yeah,
or at least it's not as potentially, well, it's not as abusive to its fan base as it could be. And that's the thing too. People that play gacha games, they're at a certain level, they're willing to accept the abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
This game, maybe there's little hints here and there, with Aira, but for the most part, I don't feel like I'm really being taken advantage of in this game. Sure, there's some odd things that you have to do to get certain resources or characters, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It could be way worse.
Yeah, I think something that I noticed too is even if you do spend money and pull the characters that you want, a week or two later, you kind of don't even care anymore. It's really, really sad. I guess unless it really changes your top roster and it's somebody that you're going to use all the time, they'll probably just kind of fade away, even if it's one of your old favorites or something like that. So you got to be careful about that money. But it's definitely, this is probably the best gacha game that I've ever experienced. I tried playing Fate Grand Order the other day, actually, just as a test download. That's another popular series. They kind of make a lot of the characters historical figures and stuff like that. But
yeah, I've seen the anime, or the one.
Oh, actually, have you?
Yeah. What's it called? Oh, I've seen this show. I can't even read. No, the not the. I guess there were two series. I saw the more recent one. Zero, Fate Zero.
Okay. Is it a yay or a nay? Is it good?
Oh, I thought it was pretty good. Whatever you think of narrative style or direction, just production quality on that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an appreciation for that kind of thing.
That's interesting. I had a feeling that you weren't even going to know what Fate Grand Order was, so it's cool that you actually watched it.
Well, I mean, also I've been seeing ads for it everywhere, so it's how was I not going to know about it, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's a gacha game.
Yeah.
I played it for about half an hour maybe, and I got to the point where you basically get your first free summon.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I got unlucky or something, but I knew from that summon I was like, nah, just uninstall.
Yeah.
Not only are the rates for summoning a lot worse in that game, half of the stuff that I summoned were resources, which I thought was kind of silly. I was like, I want characters, not resources.
Yeah.
And in that one single summon, I think I got 10 things from it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
of the resources that I got, it was pretty much just like all repeat resources. I was like, I already like this. I can already tell this is not going to be fun. Imagining summoning like 5 times and getting all the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yuck. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been a fan of the like side view 2D anime sprites on top of like 3D backgrounds, that kind of a style in games.
Yeah.
BlazBlue does something very similar. I don't like that very much for some reason. So actually, coming back to Fire Emblem after that, I have like even more respect for it, because not only is it like super polished and high quality, but like they're also really nice about giving stuff away too. So that's good. What's your thoughts on Book 2 that we just got pretty recently?
I mean, I'm kind of lukewarm about it. I'm not really, too much into the story. I mean, I'm glad that it's there. It needs to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really expecting anything of it, anything like amazing. So, I really don't care one way or the other. It's just something to do, and it's nice. And I mean, some people are into that, so good for them.
I don't know. Seeing that trailer for Book 2, the fact that they actually did a whole like cinematic for that, I was fairly stoked about that, because the story so far has been pretty, cut and dry.
Yeah.
Not very interesting. I mean, the most interesting part was kind of trying to figure out who Bruno's identity was, and I was sort of hoping the whole time that they weren't going to go with the very obvious, like, oh, he's obviously their long lost friend,
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, he is. Oh. Nice. Tricked me there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe they didn't really want a very complex story so that they could reach like the widest audience possible, reach that lowest common denominator.
I guess. Perhaps. I guess we'll have to see where it goes, though, because it does seem like, for me, Book 2 was like out of nowhere, and the fact that they're like putting a lot more effort into it, I'm kind of hoping that maybe it'll get better now as it keeps going on,
Yeah.
Because every map, or every set of maps, was kind of just an excuse for new banners and stuff before, so I'm wondering what's going to happen this time around.
Well, you know what? I will say this. The story and like all the extra content, what I really, look for, like, I guess in a way I kind of do look forward to the story missions and like all the extra content that they put out, but it's not for the actual, like, the point of the story. It's the fact that we get new maps, or like,
oh yeah,
or like, especially with the story mode, they occasionally slip in new unit types or variations. Like, I don't know if you noticed in the story mode, but we now have
female wyvern riders,
we
right?
have female wyvern riders, and there was another unit that was
Manikeets.
Yeah, Manikeets. We have those now.
I did like that, yeah.
It gave them an excuse to slip in some new stuff, which I really like.
Yes.
And
you saw the Surtur, the boss at the very end, right? He's pretty...
Yeah. He's pretty goofy.
Well, a little bit, yeah. But when you enter that battle screen and you're used to everybody being so small, he's like massive.
He's just a giant black and orange meatball that got overcooked.
Okay, fine, sure. That's a pretty good example of what he is. How do you feel about the modes in the game? Because that's something that I've been kind of feeling lately, like we need some new stuff. So I want to hear like your thoughts about that. Like, do you think that Voting Gauntlet and Tempest Trials are enough in terms of like weekly, monthly content that keeps rolling out?
I think it is. Actually, you know what? I think it is, but I think they need to change up the timing for it a little bit. Or maybe, I think, you know what? They really need maybe one more mode to pad in between those two. Because the way that you look at it, right? They release a few banners, and then they release a pair of banners for Voting Gauntlet. And for that, it's like, at least for most players that really want to get, up there on the leaderboards, you really have to like dedicate time to check your phone all the time. Like, oh, when is the optimal time to score points? You gotta do your timers or whatever so that you can get as many flags as possible and get the maximum reward that you can. And the whole thing only happens over the course of a few days, right? So like, if you're someone like me who just, oh man, you got like a really long week of school or work, or just, you decided to go unplugged and off the reservation for once, and then you come back to your phone a week later, you're like, oh, I haven't participated at all.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks. And then maybe even the week after that, you'll get a notification that says, oh, by the way, Tempest Trial's coming up. And that's, I mean, they're definitely getting better, don't get me wrong, but those early ones, man, they just a slog. It's 2 weeks of just nonstop grinding, and no matter how much you like optimize your team, you are still putting in easily like anywhere, depending on how much you want out of it, anywhere from like 30 to 300 rounds, right? Even more.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just so much time. And so and especially lately, they've been alternating just between the two. Like, I'm pretty sure, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we basically went from Tempest Trial, Voting Gauntlet, right back to another Tempest Trial.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, it's great that we have all that content coming out, but like that is a lot to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess the way to remedy that is not to have downtime, but just have content that, maybe doesn't require as much attention. We need something kind of like when they have, let's showcase this artist and throw out a set of maps, or like, hey, let's celebrate, the BGM for Warriors or whatever, just little things here and there that you can kind of do on your own time, right? And they have a long timer for it.
Yeah.
And I realize, like, some people say, like, yeah, I do it all in a day and then I gotta wait for more stuff. It's like, I mean, maybe it could be like timed release where they don't release it all at once, so you kind of have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's a gacha game, right? It's all about like consumer psychology. You feel better when there's stuff coming out at like a controlled dose rather than get it all at once and then you're in a drought for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yes. I do kind of wish that there was like some kind of a daily map or something that you can get a couple orbs from, Something that, like, even if there is no update for the day, you log in, you get your free orbs, then maybe there's at least, like, one new map or something to play. Even if it's, like, just a randomly generated map, something that they don't have to actually go in and, like, make every week. You know what I mean?
See, I don't know, because at a certain point, they have to control the flow of orbs, right? They can't just...
I guess so.
They can't let you accumulate that much over time. That would kill their business model.
Not when people are still summoning trash, even with those couple of orbs that they scrounge up,
That's a gacha game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me personally, I kind of wish that there was more of a different style of mode in the game. For example, like, I had a podcast where I was talking to SageMaster15, and he was talking about potentially like giant boss battles where basically you control one unit on the map and maybe 3 other people control some other units, and you kind of have to team up together. Almost like I guess raids in other video games. And I thought that could be pretty interesting.
I mean, that's a whole new multiplayer feature, which I think it would benefit from having like active, just an active multiplayer mode. Because right now it's sort of like it's like a lot of other phone games where it's just passive, where it's like, yeah, you see another human being's units, but it's just AI controlled, right?
Right.
There's no interaction or response.
Yeah. And I definitely think that there needs to be more friend features. Like, I should be able to send you a message in the game,
Yeah, right.
It's very like, I don't know. Like, if my guy comes to your castle, I wish that there was like a custom message I could have him say or something like that.
I can't tell you how many times I've had stupid Effie knock on my door and be like, hey there, Nick sent me again. Here's your 5 feathers, Cole. And then just like, you get that every single day. It's like,
right.
How's Nick doing? Oh, well, I don't know. I can't send him a message.
Right. Or even if you like pulled something and you wanted to, like, I'm not saying they need like a whole messenger platform in there, but I don't know, some way of like sending a little message or something to somebody I think would be really cool.
I mean, in more recent games, weren't you able to like write a message as you sent, I don't know, like your envoys or like your avatar character to other people's worlds?
Yeah, you customize the message that they say with some, I think, profanity filters in there.
Yeah, so like you could kind of go back and forth with people that you had on your friends list, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's like a very minor, not that intelligent of a system, but it's something.
Yeah, if you keep changing every time you spot pass, yeah. And something I noticed today was Chase was actually doing some Grand Hero battles, and there were certain units that he needed for certain strategies to beat the Grand Hero battle, on like Lunatic or Infernal difficulty.
Yeah.
And this is something that we did see in Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon on the DS. You were able to actually lend units to other people, and I would think that in Fire Emblem Heroes that could be really cool, right?
I mean, they do that now in why am I having like a mental block here?
What game are you trying to think?
The Gauntlet, Voting Gauntlet.
Yeah, a little bit, but like if there was a limit of like 1 per day or 1 per week, like you being able to allow...
Actually, just really quick, let me cut you off there for voting Gauntlet. I get it, IS. It's cool. I get to use my friend's units. Can I pick which unit I want to use? Because I understand. I understand. All right, the randomness is fun and everything, but when I have when all my friends are trolls and they throw on their like level 3 dancer without the dance ability, or like, I'm getting some like level 12 archers somebody wanted to pick as their favorite character and they didn't bother training them. They just want them to like sit as a trophy on their homepage or whatever. It doesn't really help me in voting Gauntlet. One might say that's counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe help me out with that.
Maybe you gotta delete some of those friends.
God. I don't know.
I do think it would be really, really cool to help out other people. Like, if they needed a certain unit for a certain strategy, if you wanted to actually, like, pick a unit that you have in your roster and, like, lend it to that other person for, like, a day or a week or whatever it would take.
Yeah.
And during that time, you won't be able to use that unit because basically they're gone. You've sent them off to go help somebody else.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and they can actually then see that unit in their roster. Obviously, it would have to be, like, marked differently so that they know it's not really theirs. But then they'd be able to, I don't even know, slap a seal on it. Maybe not change the skills or anything, if they have to go and put restrictions in there. But I don't know, I just think that'd be really cool to help people out with certain difficult maps or challenges that they can't do.
I think another thing, and maybe they could incorporate it into that feature, or have, maybe have a separate mode for it. Hate it or love it from the older games, there was always the ally units, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your good old yellow and green teams. I think, to add to your system, what if you had a thing where you could lend that unit, but it would be controlled by the AI, right? Or it would like simulate you controlling it, like you, the lender, controlling it, as opposed to like the actual player.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, I got this really neat unit, but I kind of have to play around it because it's not actually mine. So I have to somehow incorporate that on my team. Or, separate from that idea entirely, just the idea of like, oh, we can make new game modes instead of like defend for 6 turns or just kill all the little homies on the map. Defend this guy who's walking around this village, or like, I don't know, something like that.
That'd be cool.
And I know in particular that like escort missions frustrate the hell out of people.
Mm-hmm.
But just for anybody complaining about variety, it's it would be something relatively easy to implement, I think.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it wasn't like an infernal difficulty map with like a suicidal unit that just dies instantly that frustrates people, I think they can pull it off in the correct way,
Well, you know what? Maybe that's part of the challenge too. Like, we have all these positional skills for your support abilities.
Yep.
Why not just be able to interact with that AI-controlled ally?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he wants to run off? Well, my reposition says no thanks. Or, oh, you have a flyer and they feel like all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to climb over this mountain because I feel like it. Well, my flyer with swap says no.
Yep.
And I know that alone sounds like a hassle, but it's an idea, something different.
Right. There's definitely a lot that they can do. I would like to see some kind of like a more active group setting. I don't know that they would ever actually have PvP. I think if they tried to implement
I don't think
that,
so.
Yeah, if they tried to, they'd have to make some sort of incentive for somebody to move first or something like that, because unless, their first turn move is just running Reinhardt across the field and nuking somebody, nobody's going to move, and enter that enemy range and begin the slaughter and then get countered next turn. I don't know. They'd have to come up with some interesting way to do that, but I do think I would like to see some kind of PvP-esque system or something in there,
I don't know. I think the arena pretty much mirrors what you got in the other games too. I don't think there is a way to have like active PvP where somebody takes their first turn, get first turn advantage for positioning, and then other person's got to react to it. I just don't see it happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably not.
Or you end up in just a perpetual stalemate because nobody wants to give or,
Yeah, exactly.
give ground.
I don't know. I want to see some new mode. I do think that we're jumping a little bit too fast between Tempest Trials and Voting Gauntlet, and it's gonna wear them out really, really fast if people are already.
I'm already worn out. Yeah.
Yeah. See, exactly. And I'm pretty sure most people that I've spoken to have said that the mini Tempest Trial was probably the best one that we ever had.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You remember that one?
Yeah.
You basically finished it a lot faster, capped out your points faster. That was much better.
Oh, like right now, I'm playing Voting Gauntlet. I have a level 32 Spring Xander with none of the abilities on there, just dumb old Carrot Lance. And I'm up against like a max stat, +2 Ryoma. All right, got a level 35 Snaki. Oh, and look, a good old Brave Lyn. I mean, what do I do with that?
I have to say though, I don't know if there's a system in place for it to like attempt to balance things. For the most part, most Voting Gauntlet maps that I enter is like sort of evenly balanced, from my experience. I don't know if that's been your experience.
I think, yeah. Well, I think for the most part it is. I mean, you can get screwed over with the color palette all the time, but that's just the nature of it. I don't know. Just sometimes it seems a little fishy to me, though. I could just be, hallucinating or something.
I know what you mean. Every once in a while, you get that bum unit.
Well, I get that. It's like if I get that same bum unit multiple times, and it's like, oh, you really want this character on your team, from your friends list for whatever reason, and it's like, no thanks. Give me the option to opt out, not take them. They're liability.
Yeah, I gotcha. How do you feel about the summoning pool in Fire Emblem Heroes? Because since launch, we still have the same pool of 3 stars in the game. And although the 4-star pool keeps increasing, although not very much recently because I don't think anybody's been demoted to 4 stars recently, but the 5-star pool just keeps expanding, and that makes it harder and harder to pull the characters that we want. Have you had any bad experiences with this?
I mean, not bad experiences in the sense of, do I think they need to move certain people between the pools like 5 and 4, or even 3, but maybe they need to mix it. I don't know. They need to mix it up. It's getting a little stale. Maybe they have a certain rotation where they move certain characters between 5 and 4, as long as they're not handing out those like really crazy abilities that that's what essentially that's what the characters in the 5-star bracket for, right?
Sometimes, yeah. For the most part, I'd say.
Like there's always a couple characters that just have that crazy ability, and they're going to only be in 5 and stay in 5, and honestly they should. That's perfectly fine with me. But maybe for the rest of the roster, have like a monthly or maybe even every few months, just switch up that the rotation a little bit with the 5s, 4s, and 3s.
I would honestly I would not be as mad pulling a 3-star if it was like somebody more interesting or somebody new, or you know what I mean? Like, it's just pulling the same 3 stars all the time is probably the worst part about summoning.
Right, and I mean just getting 3s, but I think having a rotation for that would help maybe ease that a little bit, or at least make you feel better when you get a bunch of 4s. Like, you won't have the same 4s all the time.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like when you're trying to inherit skills on your characters, you have a bit of a bloat in a few areas?
Yeah.
You've been summoning certain banners for so long.
I feel like it's a very personal experience, but
I mean, assuming you're not like a whale or anything, where at that point it doesn't matter. But let's say you're like anywhere from free to play up to like the point where you spent like a good chunk of change on the game.
Right.
You're like, your barracks isn't huge, but you have a decent number of dudes, but because of the way the system is now, you kind of get the same characters in the 3 and 4 bracket all the time.
Yeah. From what I've seen too, it's a very interesting phenomena. Maybe it's just like a coincidence, but certain people on their accounts tend to pull more of certain characters than other people. Is there like a character that you happen to pull all the time, like more than any other character?
Well, so I think that happens to me a lot, but it happens in waves with certain characters. Like, in a given month, for whatever reason, I'll get like 6 of the same character over the course of 2 weeks, even when I'm really pulling for something. Probably the biggest offenders in the last 2 months, for example, was Crom. I got a hell of a lot of Croms. I'm staring at about 5 right now. I got a gold one and then 4 silver ones, I guess. And then, let's see here. Oh, got a couple of Reinhardts.
I don't think most people would think that was a problem. 3
or 4 of those, and I mean, I still have the 2 gold ones. One of them being the +2, so I guess if you couldn't tell, I'm swimming in Reinhardt.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I have a ton of phase. And I mean, that's really nice. Like, oh, you have all this renewal to throw around, but who uses renewal?
I like renewal, actually.
No, I do too, and I'm glad I have a little bit, but I have like a lot of renewal, and there's just no one to give it to.
Right, gotcha. I think for me lately, it's been Hannah. I have like so many Hannahs, and yeah, I mean, it's life and death fodder if I want to 5-star her, but it's really annoying to be pulling for a red character and then just Hannah, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely awful. But yeah, I think maybe not the broken characters, but a 5-star character that is like an okay unit. If I got that unit instead as a 3-star and like actually had to put in the time and effort to level them up, maybe feather them, all the way to 5 stars.
Yeah,
I don't think I would
just
hate that. I honestly don't think that I would.
Just diversify the skill, like the skills in which you can obtain from characters, and if the player base has to work a little bit to make those skills usable or to the level they want them to be, then so be it. Mm-hmm. Which honestly helps their business model anyway, I would think, because it means they're playing more.
Right.
So everybody wins. Well, not everybody wins, but it'll alleviate some problems, maybe create a few others.
Yep. How do you feel about Fjorm kind of power creeping on Shirina a little bit?
Well,
did you 5-star your Shirina?
I did actually, but I at that point is literally just because I had nothing to do with the feathers. I don't think I had like a necessity to use her or anything. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I think Shirina came out as a very underpowered character to begin with. Well, I guess that's not true. When she first came out, she was actually pretty well statted, right, relative to the rest of the roster. Mm-hmm. And the power creep problem comes from the rest of the characters being released around her. She went from being considered like a decent unit to like subpar. She's really not that great anymore.
Yeah.
Way back when, like she wasn't the best, but she was a solid unit.
Yes.
But that's just how power creep works. So I don't mind that she's weaker than Fjorm in a lot of ways. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind. She's free. Everybody's got it, right?
Yeah, that's true, but I don't know why they had to give Fjorm, like, disencounter built into her weapon, and I don't know. They just totally overshadowed poor Shirina. There's also something on the notice board here in the game said that Fjorm would only be available in certain legendary hero banners. She was summonable in the 8% banner, which I'll ask you about in a minute, but this also then did go on to say that the next time that Fjorm would be summonable would be later this month. So I'm assuming that means that we're going to get another legendary hero type of banner coming out fairly soon.
I hope so. I love that style of banner. I think that's probably the way they need to proceed in the future. And kind of like I was saying with like, they need to test some things out with the player base, start with something small or just try an event once and see if it takes off. Kind of like they did with the micro Tempest trial or, with a legendary hero banner. I like the fact that I go into a banner to summon like 4 like select characters, and rather than like pull some random 5-star, like not even breaking your pity percentage on the wrong color because you didn't get the right color. Let's say you're summoning through to the right color. I want this blue character, so I pull a blue orb, and you get a completely random blue guy. Mm-hmm. He's 5 stars, but it's not the one you even remotely wanted. That still feels bad.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand, I didn't roll the dice well on a 5 or 6% chance to get a 5-star. But when I do get a 5-star, let me have the one I'm trying to, like, work for. You know? And I think the fact that if you want to expand the hero banner pool to be 8, 12, 15 characters, but you can only pull from that very tiny pool, I'm okay with that. That's how it should be.
A lot of people had some bad luck with this past banner, though, and when you actually think about the percentage, that 8% wasn't actually all that hype at the end of the day because they took out the non-focused 5-stars you can get, so that's automatically a minus 3%. So basically all they did is give that back into the focus units and then an extra 2%. So that probably explains why a lot of people had similar, pretty normal luck or not being able to summon the characters that they wanted. It wasn't actually like double or more than double the chance of getting who they wanted.
This is just my opinion, but maybe one way to look at it is it gives the player base a little more choice in deciding, is this banner really worth it to me? Because like when you're pulling on a banner with only 4 characters and the rest of the conceivable pool is also a possibility, how likely are you to really get someone on that banner as opposed to like just some random Joe Schmo, it's your 3% or whatever your pity percentage is. Mm-hmm. It's like, in this legendary banner, it's only 8% at one of the dudes in the like 5 or 6 pool of the color you're trying to pull. But at least you can look at that and say, like, at least I know I'm going to get one of those 5 or 6 rather than like some random Joe Schmo out of the red roster or the blue roster, whatever color you pick.
Yeah, very true.
It helps you, it's mitigation of risk on the consumer's part.
Right.
Whether or not they make a good choice about it, that's up to them. You know, whether or not they want to pull, that's their fault. It gives you a better idea of what you're actually doing with your money.
That's true, but at the same time, I kind of still feel like that 8% was sort of misleading a little bit, you know?
I mean, you can argue how much the percentage actually should be, you know. I think it could, you know, maybe it could have been a little bit higher, sure, but I think the intention there was okay.
Yeah, I do like the experiment of not having pity breakers of the units that you don't want, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you actually pull anything good out of the Legendary Banner?
Oh, yeah. I definitely struggled to finally get there towards the 50th, 60th orb or so, but I got something at least. I grabbed a Fjorm and another Aira. Arya, that
Ira.
Purple Sword shit. That one.
Yeah. Did you try for Spring Camilla?
You know what? I got her on my very last pull.
Oh,
like,
nice.
The last 20 minutes of the banner. I was like, you know what? I've got 5 more orbs. I'll go for it. I grabbed it.
YOLO summon.
Yeah, I mean, it was it's like plus defense minus res or something like that. But I'm just happy to have her.
I think she has bad res anyway. That's actually not too bad of an IV.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, I think just with how abysmal my flyer team is, I'll take anything.
Yeah.
It's really bad. I need something.
Right. I finally actually have mine all together, and I'm pretty happy about it. But I did manage to get Summer Corrin too, minus attack plus res, and I did get Noe from the Halloween banner minus attack and I believe plus res or something like that. So kind of not the IVs that you wanted, but
yeah,
at least I got them. So I'm pretty happy about that, and the buffs can counteract some of that. So
I also have a tendency to pull I go into a summon banner and I'm like, all right, I want this character, let me pull them. And then, of course, I don't get them because that's just the way, the RNG gods like to play with our poor souls. But I do end up pulling that very same 5-star character out of other summon banners when I least expect it.
Yeah.
So, I decided one day, I'm just going to go into the... what banner was it? What was the one before the Legendary Heroes one?
Far-Fetched Heroes?
Far-Fetched Heroes. I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and just pull from that. And I ended up, deciding, I'll take a green orb. Why not? Why the hell not?
Ooh.
Yeah, right. It's like, I have a couple extra orbs. Why not? And I ended up getting Amelia out of that pull. IVs weren't great, but that, I was just glad to have her.
Yep.
And I can't tell you how many orbs I tried spending to get Amelia. It was bad.
Yeah.
I saved up so long, didn't get her. And then just out of the blue, here you go.
That's actually how I got Amelia too. Did you not get Halloween Henry?
I did.
Oh, so you got double Armor March then.
I did, but I was actually trying to go for Halloween Nowie. Because there again, I really need that flyer team to, it needs something really bad.
Right.
It's awful. Didn't get her.
Well, thankfully, from this Legendary Heroes banner, we do know that they are willing to bring back some of the old, seasonal units that were limited time only. So I am kind of hoping that we'll see more in the future. Because I did want Halloween Henry myself, and I didn't get him. But
I don't really know what to do with him, to be honest.
He's actually pretty good.
No, he is a good unit, but I don't know how to build him. I think mine's plus res to his already ridiculous amount of res.
That's actually really good though. Then you give him I don't even know, ice.
I think he's plus res minus speed or something.
That might be a really perfect IV actually, except for attack maybe.
I don't know. All I know though is just he does not feel magic. It doesn't exist to him.
Yeah. Actually, I think his speed is actually okay, isn't it?
I think it's fast for an armor unit, but it's relative to the rest of the roster, he's a little slow.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen some really cool Armor Emblem teams with Henry on it with certain builds. There was a crazy build that somebody was sharing the other day that I don't know if it was a Fortress Defense build or something like that, but it was really interesting. And they showed the stat breakout, and he can be pretty beefy, for sure.
Yeah.
They were arguing that he was the best Green Mage in the game, which I don't know if that's the truth or if I agree with that, but
that's a big claim.
He's kind of up there. He has his moments, especially you can hone armors.
I like him. Hone armors. You got to play Armor March, man.
Well, okay, but not somebody else hones him. All right.
Oh, okay, yeah. Don't take away Armor March.
No.
That's what makes it fun.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
I don't like one tile movement emblem.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, that when Armor March came out, Garnelby actually told me about this, and I didn't really understand it until I tried it. Armor March lets you walk through trees in one square.
Yeah.
That was insane. Blew my mind. It's unbelievable. I took it for granted until I actually saw it happen.
Yeah, well, you also
like,
didn't
cow.
experience it yourself by actually like using it. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a moment before that came out that I was like, man, I understand like the whole point of giving armor units like one tile of movement, but man, this like there has to be some better way than this.
Yeah, no,
you know?
it's actually good. I'm dumb.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad that they come up with creative solutions like that. That's not a busted way of allowing them to have 2 tiles all the time, but it's a way of making them more viable. So I'm really happy about that, for sure. And we're also, with this new Fate's Children banner, we're starting to see some new skills that promote mixed teams that actually don't buff anything unless you have less than 2 of that unit type on your team. So we're looking at like, what, half horse emblem, half, infantry emblem, half armor emblem, like things like that. I think that could be kind of cool. I'm kind of glad that, like, hopefully Horse Emblem has kind of had its moment at least, and other things now get a chance to, like, shine a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I think, I would rather not have one type of unit just completely wreck the whole game. Let's move on into the next topic. And I was going to ask you about Christmas, actually, and I think we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but what are your hopes for Christmas this year? Tell Santa what you want for Christmas.
Oh man, what do I want from Santa?
Wait. You gotta sit on my lap first.
Nah, I'm good. No, I don't know. Like, I'll be honest, I saw, even like around the first few months the game came out, and I don't know if it was a leak or if somebody just, had a good time with Photoshop, but there was like that Christmas tree Robin.
Oh,
it was like male Robin, and he was just holding a giant Christmas tree for whatever reason.
Yeah, we'll probably see that this year.
Honestly, I don't really care for it. They could just leave that out. I don't. I'm assuming it was like a spear. We don't need another one of those. You could just do without that.
Wait, you mean
I want something different.
You don't want like another limited time seasonal banner for you to spend all your orbs on?
Oh no, that's perfectly fine. I'm willing to continue to, give myself up to the IS RNG gods. That's fine. But I want to see something a little crazier. I want another Halloween banner that like breaks apart some of the unit classes and adds some, more unique options.
Okay.
Like now the armor roster really got some diverse units with an archer and a green book.
Yeah.
And all the flyers now, at least now we have green books and red books and blue books circulated into the population somewhat. So now there's some ranged options. So I want to see more like that.
So what you're saying is you want to see Ike ride into battle on a reindeer?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Horse emblem with Ike.
Why not have I don't know, Christmas church? Is it churchy? I never got that name either.
Oh.
But you know what I'm talking about. Werven
yes,
Rider?
I believe it's Shersh.
Shersh.
It's French. Just go.
I don't know. Sure. Yeah. So, Dragon Rider, right? Take her off the dragon, put her on that griffin, stick some antlers and a Rudolph nose on it, and...
What's her weapon type?
Well, I mean, I know everybody would just say, put the axe on her like in the game, but I don't know, just give her something weird, and then see what happens with that.
Okay.
Something really goofy. How about, like, a flying ninja star user? Or, like, the knife user?
That could be interesting, yeah.
Yeah, why not? Flying debuff.
There's a lot of people that want to see...
Is it good? Is it practical? Probably not. But you know what? It's fun. It's interesting. That's what the holiday season banner should be for. Fun.
Sure. I know you didn't get that far into your playthrough of Fates, but there are actually flying archers in Fates called Kinshi Knights. I know a lot of people want to see that. I'd be pretty excited to see some of those units, but obviously throughout the entire series we don't have very many of those units, so we probably wouldn't get very many of those at all.
Yeah.
I'm also kind of waiting to see units like Wrath or other, maybe Astrid from Path of Radiance, other mounted archers and things like that. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of little niches that we don't have very many units for.
Yeah, just classes that need to be filled out.
I think like Manicheets is also really bad too, and I never fully realized it, but now that I actually think back and look back to all the games, you only get like at most 2 Manicheets like per game if you're lucky.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, just that that style of character isn't really well represented. So the way they kind of continued that, I guess, that archetype is they had to add like all the beast transformations.
Right, and we haven't seen those yet. I'm waiting for that too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to keep calling it the Manakete class, maybe switch it over to like the, I don't know, I don't even know what you would call it, but just the morph class, right? Start adding the bunny people, start adding like the Lagoos cat people and the birds and everything. But, you know,
there's a part of me that feels like they're saving that for something later, maybe like at version 3.0 or something like that, because
yeah, I mean, come on, weebs, I'm sure you want those cat people. Just say the word. Just get
I know
in
they
there.
gotta do it eventually. Yeah,
you want those
I'm definitely waiting for that though, because there's not a lot of units that transform. We're not going to get a lot of Manaketes in general unless they start, you know, pumping out some of these seasonal units that are Manaketes when they're usually not, you know, the class swap ones. But we need like Hone Dragons and stuff. I want to see like an actually viable like all dragon team, you know?
I would just like another C skill that isn't, you know, the Ninian's defensive one. Give me anything. Give me something. It doesn't, you know what? It doesn't even have to be on a dragon. I'll just melt that guy down. Just please, give me something.
Here's a question for you. How do you feel about the like progress and how far the game has come this year from when it started? Because it's changed several times with a lot of these big releases, you know, like with
Yeah, I think it's great. They're going in, you know, little ups and downs, but I think mostly ups. They're consistent with content. They're adding new content. They're making changes. I think for the most part, they're listening to the community. There's a couple of things that I'd like to see, like maybe we hold back on a little bit of the power creep in certain areas and help out units a little more than they already have. Like, the changes to the staff users I think was really necessary.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely necessary. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but it doesn't make me completely hate even having them in my barracks anymore.
Right, yeah.
I could maybe consider using them again.
Right.
Maybe I'll have fun with them. I don't know if it's enough to like really push me to use them all the time, but things like that where that, and a change like that was requested for a long time. I think we need a little bit more of a response or a sense of urgency from them, right?
It'd be nice to know if they actually like browse like the subreddits and everything for the game, because I don't think they've ever actually officially like made a post there or anything, but it would be cool to know that they are paying attention like in there, in the small little community groups, you know?
I would even say maybe they don't need to provide evidence that they're, doing user research like that, but maybe they could just make a post on their notification board that says like, hey, here are some of the things we're considering. And like that would be it. That would be enough.
Yeah, okay.
Tell us, hey, it's an acknowledgement that like here's some possible things that we're going to change, and secretly it would be based on user feedback. Whether or not they want to allude to it's up to them. Mm-hmm. But say like, hey, we noticed that everyone's complaining about staff users. We're going to try and look at staff users this month or this next couple of months. Or hey, all of those dinky weapons like Armor Slayer and your lame silver swords, we're gonna fix those. We're gonna make them better.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna try something and just see if it works. Or we're thinking about it. Honestly, just write us a love letter. Just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. I don't need photo evidence of them like trolling Reddit telling me, hey, we're watching.
No, it's not so much that.
I promise.
Right.
Don't hate me.
But it would be nice to know
I swear
that
I wasn't sleeping around.
Yeah. I was just saying, like, it would be nice to know if, like, those posts at the very top of the subreddit that get thousands of upvotes that, most people agree with, I would say. It'd be nice to know that they at least see that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Especially the complaint ones.
I mean, they have to be on some level.
I think they must be, because there's some things that they have changed that they clearly knew were a problem somehow,
Yeah.
Whether it was from people just sending the feedback through the app or whatnot, but somehow. You ever have those moments where you think back to like how the game was like when it first launched and you just realize how different it is now?
Yeah, and for the better. Honestly,
yeah.
I am so glad that the terrible reign of taco meat has ended.
Yeah.
It's been dead for such a long time. It was the most miserable experience.
He might have a little bit of a comeback now. He gets a nice upgrade to his bow, actually.
See that stupid gray pineapple arena, slap bandage on him, and there was absolutely nobody to deal with him in his ridiculous stat line for the time. It was a nightmare.
Well, you hate him, but you...
I still run male Robin on a lot of teams just out of, like, the trauma from, like, playing that dude.
But you do, however, run Reinhardt. So what's your explanation for that one?
Well, I only run him on the Pony Police.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I actually don't run him on, other teams.
So he's not on your arena team?
No. Well, I mean, I change up the arena team a lot. If you mean like the defense team, sometimes, like if I know, how that you have to add the bonus character to the arena team, right?
Yep.
If I don't have a particularly strong bonus character for the arena roster, maybe I'll go ahead and slip a little bit of the Pony Police on there, like, someone I've spent a lot of time on. But otherwise, I don't really mind. I try to mix it up.
So, you hated the Takumi era. You like the current arena era then?
I mean, honestly, I don't know, because I understand that Bravelyn and Reinhardt are the terrors of arena right now.
Right, yeah.
But I don't want to go anywhere near rank 20. It scares me. It's a terrible, soulless place. I'm comfortable hovering around anywhere from like 15 to 19, honestly.
Yeah.
And it honestly just depends on like how busy I am during the week to like keep at the game.
Yep.
And it's not from lack of me not wanting to play. It's just life stuff. But yeah, I don't see it as much. So me personally, I don't complain about it. And I'm glad I'm not at 20. Never want to be. There's no happiness up there.
But the orbs, Cameron, the orbs and the extra feathers.
No, I'm pretty sure it's literally just the extra couple hundo feathers. There's no extra orbs
well,
up there.
It jumps up a little bit. I think it goes from like 1,800 feathers to like 3,000 or something like that between like 19 and 20.
Yeah, I can live with that. If I have to pay 1,000 feathers a week to not have to deal with like plus 10 characters, I'm alright with that. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm here to have fun.
That's fair.
Remember?
That's fair. Yeah.
That's what video games are about.
Are they?
That's what I heard once.
Alrighty. So we have some Discord and Reddit questions that people asked, and I'm going to ask you too, since you're a co-star on today's podcast.
Oh no. I'm so sorry, community.
So from Anti-Eternum, we have, what other games do you enjoy beyond the Fire Emblem franchise? What makes you like this game or games? What game that you've played that you didn't like? So why don't you go first?
There are other games besides Fire Emblem?
I know, I've never heard about it either.
What? Are you kidding me?
We literally talked about Faker and Order earlier.
I don't know what? Who now? Never heard of it. Can you repeat that question? Because it kind of came in like multiple parts.
Yeah, there's three little...
Break that down for me.
Okay.
Here.
What other games do you enjoy beyond the Fire Emblem franchise?
Oh man. So I guess if you're asking me like what do I play right now? What's that ish? I am still playing Rainbow Six Siege. Love that game to death. Can't beat it. And it's a love-hate relationship because I'm terrible at it. There are so many people on there that are so much better than me, but I just like, it's a fresh look at the shooter, or like what a, modern first-person shooter is.
Yep.
I like how it has a couple of unique features like the amount of environmental destruction and, some of the unique character abilities that, kind of goes with that environment stuff as well. It's fresh. I like it. I like the core gameplay loop, as you would call it. I haven't, lately I haven't had too much time for games. Like right now, in my alone time, if I have the time, I'm still working on Metal Gear Solid 5.
All right, but how about a game that you have played recently that you didn't like?
That I didn't like?
How about some real trash?
I mean, I try not to play trash. I feel like I've gotten pretty good. Like I know what I like and I know what I don't like, right?
Yeah.
What's been a major disappointment to me? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, well, okay. I don't think it's so much that it was like a disappointment because I am eventually going to beat it. But something that is definitely painful for me that I'm trying to get through and is in the Fire Emblem series is I'm trying Shadow Dragon again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm giving it another shot. Which honestly, I really need to get my in gear and finish up my my Fates run.
Your backlog of Fire Emblem games?
My backlog. Well, no, it's really just those two.
Okay.
But, you know, for some reason I thought, oh, why don't I maybe fix the chronology a little bit, go to Shadow Dragon first. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I absolutely hate Shadow Dragon with a burning passion.
I actually like that game a lot.
It's there, you know, nothing wrong with the writing. Nothing particularly wrong with the characters you have available. You know, like Mart's okay. You know, he's the poster boy of the game, of the franchise. It's fine. You know, a bunch of likable characters in there. I think I'm just so used to some of the more modern features now that I can't go back. Like, the graphics don't bother me at all. Like, I think the graphics are fine. Things like the rescue system. Oh my god, I miss that rescue system to high hell.
I'll give that one to you, yeah.
Like, I'm struggling with it. And like, I don't even think the game is that hard, but it's a quality of life thing, you know? Oh, the optimal way for me to get through this part of the map is like attack with these set of characters because nobody can double in this game, and then swap them out with rescue. But you can't actually do that, so you kind of have to make meaningful choices on who you leave in the front line.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, that's its own way to play the game, and you know, it's just not for me. It's, you know, and I'm not going to go and say like, oh, you know, the pair-up system is the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. I can live, you know, I'll leave or take that. I don't mind.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
I like it, but you know, I wouldn't be broken up if suddenly they just never put it back in, you know?
Right.
Like that, to me, that's not like fundamental Fire Emblem. You know, it's okay that it's there. I don't mind. I don't care for it. I like it, but you know, won't be broken up.
Right.
But there's just the way Shadow Dragon operates. Ugh, it is painful.
Yeah, I would definitely say that rescue and those mechanics are a huge deal now that we have them. Going back without them is kind of doesn't feel as right. And you know what? I do miss the GBA era, having characters with like different constitution and being able to pick up, like, oh, this guy's too fat for you to pick up and rescue. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's just me, and maybe I don't pay attention enough, but it feels like in Shadow Dragon, people are able to, like, the maps feel larger just based on like the way they lay out terrain. And granted, I've only gotten through the first 10 or 11 so chapters, but all the maps so far are these like wide open landscapes. The terrain is kind of sparse, which is okay, but all the units seem to be able to clear massive amounts of distance of this like giant landscape. Like, the sense of scale isn't there that I kind of feel in some of the like more recent titles. Like, maybe tile for tile the maps are the same size, but it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like the characters, like the overall roster moves just a little bit farther. Or maybe there's not enough terrain to like hinder their progress.
Okay. Do you think that has to do with you jumping between Heroes and Shadow Dragon though?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I definitely had that moment, like, going back.
Because Heroes does a really nice job of balancing, like, or at least the way movement works in just 4-man teams and those really tiny maps. Mm-hmm. They actually in Heroes, they lay a lot of terrain.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, in some cases, I think that could be a problem too. But you know,
did you get past the chapter with Caesar and Rad and those boys and Roger? I think that's where a long time ago where you were at.
Yeah, and I like Caesar. I like his boys. They're all right.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I don't know. I just thought it was funny because you didn't like Rad, right? Was it Rad that you hated? I know you hate Roger, the pink-haired Army Knight guy.
Oh, I hate Roger.
Anybody with pink hair, you
know what? Yeah, you know what? All the pink-haired dudes. There's something about them. Shout out to Murder Malkolov.
That's your favorite character.
Man, I don't know, those pink hairs. those filthy pink hairs.
In before the next, Fire Emblem Switch main character has pink hair.
Oh, right. Back to the original question, that thing that I was trying to answer a long time ago.
Yes.
Good games I've been hyped about and playing, selling my soul to. The Total War series. Played every single one since Rome 1. Love it to death. Warhammer 2, Mortal Empires, they're still putting out updates. Love that game. I put so many hours into it. I'm going to keep putting hours into it. Love it. I don't know. I'm a Warhammer, fanboy. So, well, maybe not Warhammer Fantasy, but just the franchise in general, that whole universe. Absolutely love it.
Yep. What do I love beyond Fire Emblem?
And also, I realized that the franchise itself in the digital market with like video games has been put out to high hell, and there's so many bad games now. I realize that, but all I need is one or two good games, and I can completely ignore or forgive all the other ones.
Right. Isn't it like 50-50, like ratio of good Warhammer games to bad?
Oh, no. Oh, it's much worse. It's like 20-80.
Oh, God.
Maybe way back in the day, like, mid-2000s, even. mid to, like, maybe around, like, 2010. That's when it really started to go downhill. I don't know.
Gotcha.
You had, like, Dawn of War, and even that's now gone to like, Original Space Hulk was good. At least I thought so. Yeah. Nowadays, it's just there's a lot of shovelware out there. It's all garbage. You just guys that label, that franchise.
Yeah, you basically need a guide on which Warhammer games to play and which ones to avoid.
Yeah, you do. But honestly, like if you're a fan of the franchise, you really know which ones are garbage. You can kind of just tell. But the other problem too is if you really love the franchise, you're also willing to stomach a lot of garbage too. You're willing to accept a really crappy subpar game because it has that big Warhammer label on the front. Mm-hmm. And for those of you out there, like guys, I feel you. You're just waiting on the next good one. Like I will commiserate with you someday. Someday.
Cameron, what games do I enjoy beside Fire Emblem?
Do you even play video games? I'm not even sure.
Not so much this past year. Yeah, definitely.
The fact that you have to say the word, like you run a show about games, right? Like, do you play games? Do you know what a game is?
I've seen them in picture books before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the last game non-Fire Emblem related that I played a lot of earlier this year was
probably GTA.
Not even though.
No.
No, I didn't even beat the story mode of that. I mean, I just kind of mess around online.
Oh my god, you didn't even beat the story mode?
No, I didn't. Jesus. I do like GTA though. It's not a game that I don't like. But I think the game that I sunk the most hours in recently that's not Fire Emblem related was way earlier on this year. I played a lot of Tales of Zestiria. And I like the Tales series a lot. I don't necessarily like the direction that they started to go in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they started skimping on some of the areas, and I think they simplified the wrong things, and it's just...
Actually, speaking of the Tales games, that's the reason I'm not playing Shadow Dragon right now, because I got really frustrated with it. I moved over to Tales of the Abyss.
Okay.
That was like the first game I got for that system, and I just ended up never playing it once. I was like, I have this like 6-hour plane ride here and back, might as well give it a shot.
It's a good game.
It made me like the core gameplay loop of the Tales games again, because for a while I got frustrated with it. I don't know. Some of the changes I think I saw, like, they were interesting, but they weren't for me. This felt a little more like the fundamentals to me, but that game definitely, you can see the age on it, the way it's like...
A little bit.
Like it's even directed, the way the characters like kind of interact with each other, some of the goofs, the ha-has, they're definitely dated.
Right. I'm really glad, though, about that one, the battle system. It's not as jarring going back to, like, Tales of the Abyss as it is going back to Symphonia. Like, that... I tried playing that again. I think it was, like, last summer or something like that. And it just feels so antiquated now that you're, like, on a rail. You can't free run around the battlefield,
Yeah, no. Yeah, I noticed, too, there were some, like, more modern features in it, too. Because it is a remake, right? So...
Yeah, well, they ported it to 3DS. I don't know how much... they changed about it off the top of my head, but it's definitely aged a lot better than Symphonia has, for sure.
Like, in some ways it has, yeah, in some ways maybe not so much.
In what ways hasn't it, in your opinion?
I think a little bit of the writing, probably.
Okay.
I can't really blame it. I mean, I doubt when they ported it, they really went and, changed the dialogue. They probably left that exactly the same. So I can't really fault it for that, but... It just shows its age in some places.
Yeah, so I haven't played Berseria, which is the newest one, which I think got pretty decent reviews, and I know that they fixed some things about it. The character roster actually looked pretty cool in that game, so I would be excited at some point to get that game, but I didn't beat Zestiria yet, so I'm not going to be picking that up until that moment. Zestiria, I mean, I like a lot of the roster, but it's, you know, it's not the greatest game ever. I think I got it on a sale for pretty cheap, for like $10 or something like that. So at that price range, yeah, it's a good game to play, but you know, it's not the best Tales game I've ever played. What do I like about it though? I think, yeah, probably my favorite part about the Tales games is just the combat system. I like the alternate costumes for people too. I think that's always something that's really cool to like work towards and unlock, because like there's really nothing else, you know, aside from like maxing out characters or
I don't know if
the
in
best
Abyss
skills.
like, you know how there's titles for characters?
Yes,
I don't know if they actually do anything in Abyss.
they do. Some of them do.
Do
Not
they?
all of them. Yeah, there are outfits. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Maybe I just haven't found any yet.
Yeah, probably not. There's some good ones in Abyss. There's usually always some good ones. Actually, in Abyss, they have like Power Ranger outfits.
Oh God.
Well, I know that sounds awful, but I think you'll probably like it later in the game. Okay, that's like late game costume changes. All right. You'll like it. You want a Power Ranger team, don't you?
I don't think so.
Okay. What game that I've played that I didn't like? What do I not like?
Most video games ever.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really know. It's been a while. I don't usually. Yeah, I'm very
games.
well. Yeah, well that. But I'm also very picky about what I do end up actually getting. So, yeah, I'm not really sure. Actually, you know what? This is going to be blasphemous to a lot of the people listening to this, because I know it was a hugely popular game.
Oh man, I'm ready. I'm ready for this juice.
Are you ready? Are you ready? It was hugely popular, absolutely exploded in popularity. Lots of people love it. They love the characters. They love the quirkiness of the game. But to me, like, I just look at it and I see like a
Stop beating around the bush and take your lumps.
All right. It's coming. I just look at it and I see like a really crappy like RPG Maker game, basically. Like not even a good one. Like,
oh my God, you're still beating around the bush. Let's just hear it.
It's
If it's so hard to say it, then just don't say it and we'll move on.
It's Undertale. It's Undertale. I can't. I don't like.
What's wrong with that?
You like Undertale?
I've never played. I don't know anything about it, but I don't know why that's like. You made it sound like it was such a dirty secret or something.
Well, it's been very popular lately, and I know a lot of people enjoy it, and there's definitely like some quirkiness, and I understand why people like it. There's definitely some cool things that they do in that game, but.
I thought you say that you were like suddenly into like, I don't know, those visual novels on Steam, or like, I don't know, the Sesame Street game or something. I thought it was going to be something worth talking about. No, Undertale's all right.
There's some cool things about it, like the game.
You just made it seem like, oh God, I don't want to actually reveal this. So people are going to hate me for this. Like,
because there's such a cult following of that game, you know, and I'm sure that some of the fans that watch my videos like that game, you know. So
yeah.
You know, no hate to them. I mean, if you enjoy Undertale, that's great. But for me, like, the sprite work is just so, maybe not in the battles, because like when you actually get into the battle, like that's okay. That's stylistic. But that main character sprite walking around, like the actual maps, I just can't. That's not for me. There are some like really cool moments that happen in the game that break the fourth wall, even like pretending to have deleted your save file when you try to play the game. So that stuff is like that stuff is cool. That's what I think people really attach to. You know, when it
I don't
comes to
know
the
if
game.
it's an easy game for some people to get into. I don't think people would fault you for not liking it because of that.
Yeah, but just I don't know. Visually, I can't get into it. I don't see the appeal. It's just like I could have made a better like RPG Maker sprite to, or like background maps or anything to walk around on. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just I don't know. That's my opinion on that one. Okay, next question from Grandmaster Gale. Have
Holy
you watched...
cow, we were answering questions.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Yes, we got a couple more, so maybe speed run. We'll see.
Just keep them coming.
Grandmaster Gale asks, have you watched any Jap cartoons?
What are Chinese cartoons?
I think they're just wondering about anime.
Oh, that's what it is. I've heard about that once.
Yeah? You ever watch any of that?
Yeah. I mean, granted, I take a lot of it with a huge grain of salt, and I'm real selective, because there's some there's some utter trash out there.
Okay, yeah.
I I went from, well, quick backstory. I went from just absolutely hating it and just like honestly being, what would be the word, like a complete asshole to my buddies who would watch it. And then, over the years, like they kind of brought me around to like, all right, here's why we like it. Here's some good examples of things that aren't complete and utter shit.
Yeah.
And they showed me like this is why this is good. This is why we like it. And I was like, okay, I can see in this light, this perspective, this is why it's good. Or
Yeah.
why you like it, at least. I get some of it now.
I think there's a pre-Death Note era and there's a post-Death Note era. And once you've seen Death Note, you know it's good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and it's not even that I can't suspend my disbelief in some things. And I love me a dank meme every now and then. But there's just a certain point where it doesn't click,
Okay, yeah.
Like, there's just some shit on there. Or not on there, out there that's just,
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a huge booming industry, and they have to pump a lot of these shows out and come up with new shows every single year. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of, like, garbage.
I think I'm honestly I'm almost more interested in the animation, like, industry aspect of it than even some of the content sometimes.
Okay.
Maybe, like, just the way it's all designed and, like, the way the art's done.
Yep, sure. What's the best thing that you've seen lately? How about that?
Um,
I'm probably going to have a very similar answer to you, because I don't think you've been watching anything since we watched something.
well, I've been watching one, thing, I don't even know, I guess just this year, called, My Hero Academia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's like a really simple show, but I really like I like the color palette, I like the lines, I like everything about it. I like the writing. It's a good old-fashioned superhero show, and I love superhero shows. All about it. Everybody's got cool powers.
Mm-hmm.
They have like interesting ways in which they like interact in the world with those powers. It's not just like, oh, I'm Superman and I can do everything, and this is my superhero life. Being the champion of humanity. You're like, no, it's just a bunch of punk kids trying to figure it out.
Sure. There's a lot of heroes with gimped powers in there too, which I guess is more realistic, but I don't know.
Yeah,
some of them are really stupid.
But they're supposed to be stupid. I think,
know, but
I think that's what makes it good, is that, it's not a show about, oh, hey, look at these cool superpowers. It's a show about, hey, look at these people just kind of living their lives that just happen to have superpowers in them, kind of,
Yeah.
The focus is still on the powers and everything, but it's not. I don't think they all define themselves by the powers, and it's not. There's still other things to pull out of that kind of show.
Sure. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, I don't know. There's just some I think there's a frog girl or something, and there's this little teeny midget guy that has I don't even know, balls on his head that he throws at people. There's this
purple grape guy.
Yeah, there's just anime tropey characters in there that I'm just I could do without that character.
I mean, usually I'm not a huge fan of it, but I kind of overlook it just because it's it's supposed to be like a fun, goofy show.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of it, but I'm definitely not as anywhere near obsessed with it as a lot of people are becoming. That's probably one of the hottest anime series this year.
It's probably why I'm watching it.
Yeah, probably.
It's a fun show,
Yeah.
Simple, clean, fun.
I'd have to say, I think my favorite in recent years, and I know it's one of your favorites too, is Attack on Titan. I don't think I've seen anything as good as that. I mean,
what is that show? I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Death Note will always be my favorite, I think, but recent anime, I think it's definitely Attack on Titan for sure. Just the sort of mysteries and plot twists in that show are just so good.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried for it though.
How come?
Just because I'm worried but hopeful that the writing, I don't want to say the writing gets more clever, but I think I want the twists and turns to be a little more ridiculous than they probably were for the last season.
Okay.
Because I don't for anybody that actually cares, I won't talk about the season or anything, but I sort of called most of the major plot points by the first or second episode,
of this past season.
Yeah. I told you about it, and I told a bunch of other people, they all agree. It's oh yeah, we see this all coming, and then surprise, surprise, about 90% of it was true.
Mm-hmm. I think I would be worried that it would end up a little bit to me like Lost syndrome, where, I mean, I love Lost. It's one of my favorite shows. I know a lot of people are not.
I could not watch Lost. Dude, you lost me.
I think you just need to watch.
No, you lost me at like the first or second episode with the stupid polar bear and the smoke monster. Dude, get out of here.
All right. Well, anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is, with Lost, the mysteries are what really, I mean, obviously the characters are great, but the mysteries are what really drove you to like keep watching the show, because you want to find out and figure out like, what's going on. Yeah. That's, well, for everybody that enjoys it, I'm pretty sure that's why. But what I'm worried about is once you actually discover like the reasons behind a lot of the mysteries, like the magic of that mystery is then gone, because like you understand it, you know what it is, it's not exciting anymore. So I would hope that with Attack on Titan that it doesn't lose that magic that it has once we figure out like what's actually going on, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, eventually there has to be a reveal.
Sure, but I hope that they can.
Wishful like, if you go down the road with that line of thinking, you're going to be disappointed when there's a reveal, and then if they don't reveal anything, you're going to be really mad that they.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, they've been pulling your chain the whole time.
Sure. Yes. There's a give and take. I just hope that they can remain like good about it, and that by the end of the series, it's not like, I don't know, disappointing what all the revelations were, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's like huge, like mind-blowing mysteries and stuff, and I just hope that it's not like a simple, stupid answer waiting beyond that door, you know?
Yeah.
All right, next question. So from Uvaria, we have, what character can you relate to the most, or which character do you see resembling yourself? And I'm assuming that means in a Fire Emblem game. So why don't you start, Cameron?
Oh, man. Come back to me for a minute. I gotta remember. I've got to think back to how many characters I've seen and played. Holy cow.
Yeah, let me think too.
I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of characters in the franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, who do you resemble? I'll give you a little Reinhardt, maybe.
Maybe now. Like right now, I got this like sort of slick hair thing going on.
Okay.
Yeah. I would, like, right now I would give you Reinhardt, because I got like not like the slick back thing, but you know, I've got like the slick side part and a little bit of that Superman curl going on in the front that honestly I hate and I got to get rid of.
I'm trying to think, who do I look like?
Actually, you know what? This new guy that I just pulled on the banner today, Shiro.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Absolutely
not in like the whole, like, he looks like a pretty muscular, well-built dude. That is definitely not me. But like, you know, I'm just looking at his hairstyle. Like,
I'll give you that. I'll give you Shiro.
I used to have hair like that. Maybe not that wild and like the back end, but I usually pretty messy hair.
Yeah, that's not a stretch. You actually look like him. I'll give you that one. He's actually Ryoma's son. You haven't gotten that far in Fates, but
yeah.
So not only are you him, but yeah, Ryoma's your dad.
That's why
cool.
I can't really identify him, but you know.
Having Ryoma as a dad is pretty cool.
Oh. I don't know if I want to draw that parallel. Who am I mostly like though? Like personality-wise, probably. Yeah. I mean, okay, let's face it. In all the Fire Emblem games, a lot of the characters, modern or older, are kind of like, they have a couple of facets, but for the most part, it's a two-dimensional trope that really drives their personality. Yeah. Like one or two key traits that they just run with. So like if we were to go based off of just one trait that like defines me entirely as a human being, which is, it sounds dumb saying, I'd probably be closer to like Staw from Awakening.
Okay.
Like I'm like super type B, so laid back, just.
Wasn't he hungry all the time?
Yeah,
hungry and lazy. Maybe?
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely lazy. I mean, forget the hungry part, whatever. But like, I'm super lazy and super like laid back. At least that's what everybody else tells me. Because some days I just look like a sloth, you know. I could like sit in a chair and melt into the floor. I usually feel really relaxed all the time, like, or at least I try to put myself in that state of mind.
Okay. Yeah.
And especially like my family, most of them are type A, maybe a little high strung and all that. Oh God, they always give me shit for looking way too relaxed, like not a care in the world.
Okay.
You know, like maybe looking like my head's in the clouds or something.
Okay. Yeah.
I think in that way I'm kind of like stall. Just like, oh, you know, stuff's happening. It's good, bad, whatever.
Who do you think I would be like?
Well, let's think. Let's find all these, like, you're definite, like, even though maybe you're not quite that blonde, we definitely need to find you, like, a platinum blonde character.
Okay, yeah. I've answered, like, a question similar to this in the past.
Yeah.
I do sort of have, like, the Barst in Fire Emblem Heroes, his hair going on. Not the blue, but, you know, the style, a little bit of that. Because he kind of has, like, the...
That's kind of what I have going on now, too.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm trying to think.
Gotta fix that. Look, man, trying to be cool and follow trends, don't do it, kids. It's dumb.
Hey, man, frosted tips will always be awesome.
Oh, God.
Is there like a brunette character that I look like? I don't know.
I think who...
Yeah, I gotta think about this one, too.
Which character most likely suffers from, like, a severe case of obsessive-compulsive disorder?
Oh, God.
Let's see.
Actually, you know, Frederick is really interested in rock collecting.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, Frederick is a bit of a stretch, though, because he's very, how would I say it?
What you trying to say?
Like, I think, like, you have his temperament. You have his temperament, I think.
Okay.
Right. You got that demeanor, but you definitely don't have some of the other personality traits.
Okay.
The word I was going to say was productivity.
Oh.
But,
hey, I'm working
on
it. I got the one video a week down, bare minimum. I got to do better than that, but yeah. At least I've been consistent about that.
Oh, and I guess for anybody wondering, like, making the comparison of, like, oh, yeah, you're stall, so you have absolutely no personality, and you're, like, bland milquetoast and probably a vegetable. You're damn right. I don't know. I have those days where it's just like, ah.
I think I look a tiny bit like Xander, but I'm not going to say that for my answer because I think that people like Gas Station looks more like Xander than I do. All right, you know what? I'm going to go with Tobin. Tobin has kind of like my old school hairstyle going on. I'll give it to Tobin. You haven't played Echoes yet, but you've seen Tobin in Heroes.
Yeah.
So.
I refuse to, like, play Echoes until I solve some of this backlog.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You were actually talking about the huge maps in Shadow Dragon, and if you're ready for some huge empty maps.
Well, see, I don't know if they are huge. They just feel huge. I don't think I can prove one way or the other.
All right. Well, Echoes has some
perception.
Echoes has some pretty huge maps, and they are mostly empty because we're talking about, you know, this NES era of games. Yeah, get ready for that. That's probably one of the biggest complaints about Echoes were the fact that they kept the old school maps in there. They didn't change anything really about the maps.
Yeah.
So if you hate the Shadow Dragon maps, I don't think you're going to love the guided maps.
I mean, you know, I don't really hate them. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't prefer them. God, maybe it is Frederick.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a couple of differences, but you know, some of it is on point.
Actually, you know what character I kind of maybe resemble a little bit more? Might be Arthur's son. His name is Lutz. He's not in Heroes yet, but you know, if you slapped a hero mask on me, I might like something like that.
Captain America's got a kid.
Yes, he does.
Oh man. I don't know. Are you like Loot?
No.
Are you just like absolute supremacy of all human beings?
You know, I don't remember Loot's support conversations very well from Sacred Stones, but I don't remember her being that like nerd. I'm better than everybody. You know, I feel like I don't know. I can't speak on it because I don't remember 100%. But in Heroes, I feel like they really played that up, and I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like that's not how she was.
Well, I think, honestly, the fact that they even gave some of these older characters a voice in the first place, actually bringing out their personalities that were written in the original games, but like not everybody actually took the time to like get all the support conversations or even pay attention to some of that writing. That's fair, yeah. Like you'd be shocked. Very true. And that's the thing too. Like some people in the community, here's like a little side tangent, a soapbox, quick 2-minute rant. Some people complain about how the franchise is getting too tropey and all of these like I guess things that are done in a similar fashion to anime. I mean, it's a similar style and all, but just there's like a certain degradation of quality once they try to keep increasing the fan base, by like doing these things. They make the characters more bland, or they add all this relationship stuff. They add, just really blatant one-dimensional tropes to some of these characters and their personalities.
Uh-huh.
A lot of that still existed in the older games too. It was just maybe a little harder to find, or it wasn't as like apparent.
Sure, yeah.
Because graphically it wasn't as pretty to look at, or just, didn't come out all that well. The writing was just, really simple black and white text that kind of scrolled on with like, static faces that just had the lips move a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, yeah.
And if you didn't go through a good chunk of the support conversations, you wouldn't even know that some of those characters had voices beyond like the 2 lines you get when your blue-haired boy talks to them, or your red-haired boy talks to them and drags them in the sin bin.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the next question. So there were a couple more questions from Uvaria, but I'm going to save them for potentially future podcasts and stuff, because we do have 2 other people that did ask questions too. So, from Reddit, HB the Battle asks, what's your favorite map in the series?
Ooh.
Yeah, why don't you have one in mind, Cameron?
Oh, I don't have one in mind, but there's definitely been a few maps that I was like, this frustrates the hell out of me, but I love it.
Yeah, in a good way?
Oh yeah, in a good way. There's some good maps.
I'll start with this one. I think probably one of my favorites, maybe just because of the moment in time that I played it. I don't think it was necessarily like the greatest map, that they ever made in any of the games, but
yeah, one
of my all-time favorites, just because the whole experience of playing it was...
I think I know what you're going to say, but
Do
go
you?
ahead. I think so.
I don't know. You might, but I don't know. The very early on part of Sacred Stones, you don't play as Ephraim. The first chapter that you get Ephraim, him and his buddies, Kyle, Ford, and Orson, have to basically storm an entire little mini castle, just with your little skeleton crew.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, oh my god, that maybe I just liked it because of, I just thought it was so like edgy and cool how like this little skeleton squad of dudes is just gonna storm and just like beat an entire castle of dudes. I don't know, something about that map, I really liked that. What were you thinking that I was gonna say?
Maybe it wasn't just like one map in particular, but it was like a set of maps and sort of an overarching theme that they put out for this set of maps. And Path of Radiance, anytime you and the team was just minding your own business, or you were moving from like map to map, and all of a sudden it was like, all right, boys, all of a sudden, boom, Black Knight shows up.
Oh.
And they surround the town or the fort that you're in, and like they keep bringing reinforcements, and they start to like draw the net a little bit closer, and your whole squad is literally funneled down this path, and you can't turn back because Black Knight's there to like just ruin your day.
Okay.
You're like, he's invulnerable, hits for like your entire health bar. What even is the defense stat?
So maybe like the port map, one of the early ones that he shows up on.
Oh yeah, love that port map.
Yeah. He just comes out of the house and just completely ruins your day.
Was the actual design of the map particularly creative or different? Maybe not, but just the way that the way that it played, right? Like as a kid, I felt so much urgency of like, holy, this monster's coming after my team.
Right.
And like I've already save scummed the map 10 times because this dude can just murder them. I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And you literally sprint everybody as fast as they can to like get to that boat.
Yeah, that was a great moment because you start the map and like you're already dealing with the enemies and everything, and all of a sudden, just like out of a random house in like the middle of the map, the freaking Black Knight just walks out.
Yeah,
it was a huge moment.
And there's definitely like other maps where like they have really, like even in Shadow Dragon, for example, like one of the really early levels, it might have even been in the prologue where you're like trying to just take that small castle, and they're like, oh, here's like 50 knights that show up and you can't turn back. Like they do that quite a bit in the series, but this particular one just like it really drives home that feeling in the setting of like this big bad's coming for you and you gotta go. Like there's no turning back.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like they managed to nail it in like a few maps, not just one. Love that.
Yeah, the Black Knight brought a lot to those games. Absolutely.
Man, they just like. I mean, there's always been villains, but they just put like a the real big bad face on him. Just like,
Yeah.
oh shit, he's like the real Darth Vader.
Definitely one of the most interesting villains in Fire Emblem for sure. So actually, let me ask you this question now. What are you hoping to see in like a Fire Emblem Switch title? I made a video on this a little while ago, and so I kind of put all my...
Is this your question or someone else's question?
This is a question that I had written down, because we also have a rumor that I've been hearing spreading around that we'll probably get some actual news on this upcoming Fire Emblem Switch title, because we're supposed to get it next year, actually, really quickly. And we know absolutely nothing yet about it. So I was kind of under the assumption that maybe early next year we'd have another Fire Emblem Direct situation where they announce it.
Yeah.
But there's a rumor going around right now that we might actually hear something earlier than that. So what are you hoping to see? Like, what do you want from Fire Emblem on the Switch? Like features that you would like to come back, maybe features that you don't care if they don't come back.
Yeah, just what is the next proper title look like? Not like a spin-off or anything.
Right. We jumped like from after Sacred Stones. It was a huge leap into Fire Emblem 9 Path of Radiance with Ike. That was a big jump.
Yeah.
So
right.
we're finally about to make that jump again back to like a console version. So like this is going to be, hopefully it's going to be huge. So what do you want out of this game?
I guess I'll break it down in like a couple different places. So like if we look at Fates, I don't know if it was just me, but that opening set of trailers for like the opening ads for the game were the hypest of
oh my god, I'm
of
so
the
with
franchise
you.
I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, like beautifully well done. They had this whole like clash of the cultures going on.
Yeah.
They showcased like a bunch of different like weapons and units and just styles. Some like really weird looking stuff that we hadn't really seen before.
Absolutely.
At the very least, I want to... And the thing is, too, I mean, I haven't played enough of it, but what I've seen so far, and what I've heard from some people, is it didn't quite deliver on what they saw in the trailers in that regard.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
But, there again, I don't know. I'm working on it. But I guess I want to see that. I want to see another trailer like that, and then just deliver on it.
Yeah.
Give me what's on the tin. Now, what exactly is in that trailer? Oh, God. I need a minute for that. I don't know. Everybody would say, oh, just add more classes and add more promotions and, just creep. At a certain point, I think enough is enough. You have to change something else, right?
I like how they kind of cycle them. Some games we get these classes,
I like
some
the
games
cycle,
we don't.
too.
Yeah.
I liked how in, now the, like, games are going together. It was Stones, right, where you had multi-classing, but it was in, like, a divergent Y path.
Yeah,
so
you
like,
had branched, you could pick, yeah.
Yeah, but you only had a binary choice. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it was either like Paladin versus Great Knight or like Rogue versus Assassin.
Yeah, I don't mind with like, you master seal up and you can, or, you have like a ton of seals to mix and match and, multi-class essentially and all that. Like, that's fine. But I think maybe for this one, why don't we try something like that? Let's actually, I don't want to say let's limit the options and make it, really simple, but make it something distinct like that. Mm-hmm. Still have players make a choice, tough choice or not. I don't know. Is that just like bland wishful thinking? Am I just like, talking out of my here?
No, I see what you're saying. I agree with you.
Like, am I making any sense at all?
I think Awakening, it was very open. I mean, certain people had their classes or whatever, but if you married them with the avatar, you could kind of give them more classes to be able to pick from. Fates is similar to that. I think the only thing that I don't like about people having access to multiple classes is when they lose their custom color palette when they switch to something else.
Yeah.
I hate that, man. If your outfit is like a black, like edgy black and gray outfit, don't become a blue armor knight. You know what I mean? Like, at least keep it consistent. Even if you don't get like a non-generic outfit in terms of like the details that are on the outfit. Mm-hmm. Like, if they have to do like a standard model, that's fine, but at least make it like the right color. I don't know. It's just, they were pretty lazy with some of the reclasses and Awakening and stuff, so.
Yeah.
But I definitely see what you mean, like keeping characters like a couple, just a few, maybe
actually
1 to 3 options.
I guess one feature that I'd like to see, I don't know if it would work at all, but just, in the vein of trying something different. What if they try to change the formula a little bit? So, like, again, I'm going back to Path of Radiance. I don't know why. I guess because it was such a big leap, they did a bunch of, like, they tried a bunch of weird little features.
Uh-huh.
And maybe this wasn't even the first one in the series to do it, but it's the one I remember. After a certain point in the game, you were able to call on, like, your you got your own set of like AI reinforcements, right?
Yep.
You go into your menu, hit the button, and then a bunch of the yellow cannon fodder would fly in, and then you could tell them where to go and die for you.
Yeah.
Because of course, you know, they didn't, at least to me, they didn't really contribute much. Maybe the Peg Knight, or was it the Peg Knight, whatever the promoted class was. It would always give you 2 base class and then 1 promoted Peg Flyer.
Yeah. For the trio, you mean?
Yeah, were they called Falcon Knights then, or were they Peg Knights?
Yes.
What were they?
I think they were still Falcon Knights and Path of Radiance.
Yeah. So you got 2 base cannon fodders and then 1 promoted cannon fodder. And I thought that was really cool. You know, you got to do something that like the bad guys get to do, and it added like another little mechanic that you could use to try and win the map. So maybe, I don't think that they should necessarily be AI controlled, because that was really frustrating, which is why they became cannon fodder for me. But I would almost say, what if you decrease the roster of like the known faces of your the game? So I don't know, let's say you have like main blue hair boy, you have like the starting crew that comes in his little mercenary camp, right? And then you go around and you recruit a couple more mercenaries that are just in random towns that have been ransacked by bandits, like it always ends up. And then after that, it just stops. Like, after that, you just get like a bunch of generic soldiers that you can kind of maybe deeply customize, because they don't, like, all the characters in the Fire Emblem franchise have their own like unique persona, they have their own look, because they have like the starting class, they kind of have this feel of like this is what they were meant to do, right? Like, let's say for example, you're like, you know, what's an example? Like Frederick in Awakening. I don't know why, but even if you reclass him, I always see Frederick as like, he's got to be this super heavy armored knight guy, because that's just the way that his aesthetic looks, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, all the cutscenes and everything, that's how he shows up. So I always picture him as like big tanky dude, takes a hit, runs in first, hard hitting, that kind of thing. He has an identity to him, you know, or at least you build that identity as you play with him. Maybe have a bunch of like faceless people that you can really customize deeply and build their own identity to them. I'm thinking of kind of like XCOM, you know. For any of you out there who've ever played XCOM 1 or 2, there's like some similarities to the Fire Emblem series, the way that it plays, but there's a lot you can do with character customization, and you can, if you're like me, you want to like customize everybody, and then at some point you get a little too attached, and then when they inevitably die because you're just terrible at the game, you're like, oh, you know, I feel bad that this character that I made, and they have their own like look, their own identity or whatever, what they have like a role inside of your group, they died and they're gone, and that value is now lost on you. Do something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Instead of having like every character as like a set appearance of what they're supposed to be when they first get recruited.
Yeah, like they seem to have this thing right now with like creating avatar characters, like customize your own everything, have all the classes multi-class so that everything's customizable. I'm okay with that, but why don't you really give people the ability to customize? Like, let them do everything about, like, I mean, give them, I guess if you want to implement it simply, have like a bunch of templates for like a bunch of different soldiers. Let them customize all the colors of like their armor sets. Let them customize the, you know, what weapon do you want them to use, or what, you know, maybe like a set of skill trees that they can progress down for their class, you know. But they don't really have a face. It's just like generic cannon fodder man number 1.
You know, I was actually in a podcast recently, the Emblem Cast. They decided to have me on, and somebody in there actually said that XCOM was like the natural progression from Fire Emblem, like better than Fire Emblem in like every way.
I think it, you know, in some ways I think it is. I guess the thing is, like, to me, in a lot of these games, like, oh, you are this. Well, assuming you're, you know, let's say you aren't the avatar player, or you're one of the blue-haired or red-haired boys. You're supposed to have this sense that you're like on this grand campaign with either like a mercenary company or like a massive army or fleet or something.
Yeah. And
you're there just rolling around kingdoms, like wiping out all these evil like chunks of the empire or like whatever, you know, usurper or invading forces there. but I never get the sense of that because it's always like the same 20 or 30 little kids, right? Like I don't really get that sense.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
And it's like, oh, cool, I can customize some of their skills, and I can maybe multi-class some of them. But that, I mean, in some ways it's limited. Why not be able to do more?
Yeah, I could see that.
And yeah, that means you have to make some like faceless cannon fodder units, but just have like your main cast and then a bunch of add-ons. Maybe set it up so that like your main face characters are the ones like leading portions of that campaign. Like
like little teams and groups.
Yeah, like I think everybody was pretty happy with how Sacred Stones did like the sibling split up, or how I only assume in Valentia the Ulm and Celica split up. How you kind of had two different armies that eventually came together, but the fact that you had like two unique sets of like small groups, maybe do something like that where like, oh, you have a couple of face characters lead a squad of faceless, meat shields. I mean, playable characters.
Gotcha. So we've had games like Xenoblade now on the Switch, and these games, I mean, I haven't played Xenoblade yet, but
never played it.
It's basically like a massive world, basically single player MMO. If you think about like running around the world and stuff. So in terms of like the scale of this Fire Emblem, this could be huge. And I think maybe that would also lend to, you feeling like you're actually with an army moving across a continent, So I would hope that they would put a lot of effort into like world building as far as like that goes. Like if you're actually going to invade a country, instead of just three maps.
You feel like you're invading a country and not like,
on a school field trip with your 20 friends. Yeah,
exactly. You're invading a full country, not a football field.
I'm just really hoping that they don't hit the cruise control button with these games, Like Awakening turned everything around for the franchise.
Oh yeah. No, but, I'm kind of worried about that.
Love or hate Awakening, you feel the amount of effort that they put into that game. I mean, even there was a separate system in Awakening where you could summon armies onto the world map of like old school fan favorite characters from all the games in the series. That was really cool. Just those little touches in that game, like you could tell they went all out to make that game awesome. And Echoes they did a really great job on as well, but I'm just worried that moving forward they're not going to put that 110% in because they know that they're okay and the games are doing well again. Yeah, I don't want to see this Fire Emblem turned into like a Call of Duty syndrome where it's just like the same thing pumped out every year, maybe just a little bit different,
I thought of another feature, and it's funny that you brought up that XCOM is the natural progression because, I think I wholeheartly believe that now in the 5 minutes that I thought about it, but
whoops.
Right. So you talk about invading countries and you think about the theme of the game. It's essentially a bunch of like despots and monarchs and these feudal empires that have some kind of political system, or at least you hope so, because all you really see is like a bunch of kids running around looking like warlords conquering, right? And then you just kind of assume like the taxes are being collected and like the social programs, if there are any, are being enacted or whatever, laws are being enforced. Maybe they could do a thing where, like, if they continue down a path like Awakening or in Sacred Stones, like, let's say you have an overworld map, assuming that you're still playing, like, blue-haired boy ruler of your kingdom or of your army, which will eventually conquer a kingdom to rule, you have, like, a set of political choices that you make that affect that overworld map. Kind of in the way that, like, in XCOM 2, they have the dark events.
Yeah.
So, like, you're given a bunch of choices and you have to make one, and then the consequence of that choice carries over, like, a global effect, or maybe even, like, a micro effect into, like, the next battle that you have, like, oh, maybe extra reinforcements fly in, or maybe, like, like in Awakening, all the shops on this side of the continent suddenly have, like, a big sale, just random things like that.
Yeah.
It's up to the developer on how they want to field the theme for that, because like in XCOM it's they're called dark events. It's a very dark and depressing kind of morale crushing system where you're given 3 bad choices and you have to eliminate one and live with the other 2. And Fire Emblem's kind of had more of a positive spin, like a very optimistic outlook on how the whole thing plays out. So maybe don't make it so pessimistic with the choices, but, you know, give the player like a couple of like interesting positive choices that affect how their next few hours go with the game.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And it'll make each playthrough a little bit different.
Yes, I like that a lot. Yeah, and you know, sometimes you sit back and you think about Fire Emblem and you realize a lot of these characters are very happy-go-lucky and excited to like go on the battlefield and just slaughter like thousands of people.
I mean, what's to stop them from saying, like, with these world events, oh, you know, you have like political choices that drive world events, and then just natural random world events, like, oh, in the area that you're playing in, there's a weather system, and all of a sudden, oh, it's like a cloudy rainstorm or whatever, so all your ranged units, you know, have like -20 to their accuracy because they can't see.
Yep.
Or like all of a sudden you're in like a very arid or rocky region, and all of a sudden like, oh, sandstorms, you know, put sand everywhere. Your horses you literally can't use your horses anymore, and your knights move at even slower speeds or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're all temporary, but really impact what's going to happen for the next few hours that player's playing.
Right. It's funny that you're making these points, actually, because I made a video, I think it's a couple months ago at this point, that was basically like my hopes for the upcoming game.
Yeah, I remember that. And some of them are kind of similar, yeah. I mean, we want the same things.
Yeah. But even like this, being able to decide, like, you know, do we attack this castle now? Do we wait? You know, which direction do we attack the castle from? Are we going to like take the sneak approach? Yeah, I think that would lend a lot to
very
replayability.
XCOM-y.
Yeah. I guess I never thought of it as very XCOM-y, but you're right. Yeah.
I mean, they implemented the stealth system in XCOM for a reason.
That's true.
It's just a natural progression of things. At least now I believe that.
You know, so Fire Emblem Switch in space, right?
No.
When?
No.
Fire Emblem, you know, you're fighting aliens now.
You know what? You wanna
instead of Manicheets, they're aliens.
No. Oh, I thought of an interesting idea though. So I think everybody was down for the Clash of Cultures idea with Fates. You know, maybe the implementation was a hit or miss. I don't know yet, or I'll leave my own judgment once I'm done with it. But I think it would be cool if they had the setting or at least they kind of they make a parallel similar to the beginning of the Gunpowder Age, when like dudes are still running around with like swords and lances, and they're like, you know, you still have these like giant squads of cavalry and, you know, some level of archers, and like the idea of archery is still present. But you start to see these like really, really clunky looking firearms, you know, appear.
Okay.
I don't want to like eventually just turn it into Advance Wars, right? But, you know, let's see a class with like a really, you know, ancient looking musket or something. Let's see some riflemen or like a dragoon of some kind, you know, like a gunman on horseback. Just an idea. And
then Fire Emblem becomes Assassin's Creed, where we keep jumping like a couple hundred years ahead with every game, every time period. Yeah. Then we get Fire Emblem GTA.
No. Well, I mean, there's also magic too, so let's not kid ourselves. It's not gonna. I don't think it can possibly follow that progression. I feel like, you know, any magic spell is probably better than a gun, but not everybody's cool enough to read books.
I guess not.
But, you know, just something like that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think there's a fine line to be able to still keep the swords and the sort of medieval vibe that Fire Emblem has, but also, yeah, maybe incorporating some of those other cultures and other things in there. Yeah.
Like you know, you can kind of see like the way the series progressed, even with the kind of the baseline equipment for a lot of the soldiers and the characters, like what they run. Like a lot of the older games, characters had like very simple armor layouts where they just had like a breastplate and some like really small shoulder pads, and then like maybe some plates for their quads and like knee pads. But like it was very minimalist, almost like, you know, they didn't have that much coverage for the average dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even the armor units, like they basically just had like a full plate chest piece and like maybe something for the upper half of their legs, and that was it. You know, didn't even have helmets. Like the older armor styles are definitely different from the newer stuff, especially like Awakening and Fates, and now everybody's like super stylized. They're not even, some of them aren't even keeping to like a medieval aesthetic in some regards, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'll give it to some people. Like I don't understand I don't get the maids thing in Fates. That's just me. Like I think I understand a little bit where it's coming from. I think we all do, but you know, I don't know. Doesn't make sense.
You don't like Felicia, bro?
Not particularly.
I was gonna say it would be really, really funny to end on me asking you who your favorite waifu is in the series.
And we all know what that fucking answer is.
I actually kind of don't. I mean, I know some
No?
I know some waifus that you like, but I don't know.
Are you kidding me? Okay. Who? Oh, hold on. I picked up my roster right now. Let me go to edit teams.
I know Lucina.
Yeah. But who has been sitting on the front of my heroes team since literally day one? Has not changed since I started, except for today, because I accidentally put someone else in the first slot, and that was a huge mistake that's being rectified right now.
It's Lucina.
Of course it is.
I know that one.
I don't care if people call her basic, bland, and boring. Don't care.
The only thing you care about is that it's Marth with a girl's haircut.
Hell yeah.
And with that, we're going to end off the podcast. What are your top 5 waifus? Quick, while I read the end card, you can use that time to think about your options. When you come up with 4.5, I'll probably help you at the end. Or make fun of your poor choices.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening if you made it this far into the podcast. I hope you really enjoyed it. Be sure to check out some of the links in the description below to some of the other content in this channel. I will be breaking this podcast into some little segments, so if you want to see certain moments animated, be sure to let me know what your favorite moments were. If you have any questions that you want to ask for us to answer in a future podcast, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much, and hopefully you will be tuning in for the second episode. All right, Cameron, go.
Oh God, 5. Oh man, that's way too much thought. There's only like one Lucina. What is it? It's Brave, regular vanilla, Spring, and Future Witness, Marth, or whatever that fake bullshit is. It's Lucina, guys. Yeah, she's bland, vanilla, I don't care, fight me. Whatever your garbage excuses are. Is there anyone else? Does anyone exist?
I think you came up with one option out of 5.
No, I gave you 4 variations of the same one option.
Oh, that's what you're trying to do?
Yeah. No, that was the joke, though. But actually, they don't have the bridal Lucina in here for some reason. God. No. But actually, give me a minute.
All right, so Cameron only has one waifu. The end.
Yeah.
Too bad she's already Robin's. Claimed.
What? Okay, wait. So does it have to be waifu in the sense of like... No, you know what? No, I'm not even gonna go there. Never mind.
Okay, Lucina dies, and you have to pick somebody else. Go.
I mean, what's the point of playing this game anymore?
Lucina dies. A healthy amount of time has passed. You're in the dating scene again.
Wait, whoa, dating. Hold on. Whoa.
All right.
I'm suspending disbelief here. Okay, I got it. Good.
Okay, so Camilla and Cordelia walk into a bar.
Oh, well, I did like Cordelia. She'd probably be number 2.
I know, that's what I thought was your number 2.
Yeah.
The real question is, what's number 3?
I don't know. Every female Fire Emblem character ever
Jesus.
made. I'll find it on here.
I think it's funnier that you don't have a pick.
No, I think I do. It's just, again, it's like 1 o'clock, and there's also like hundreds of characters. As soon as I see them, I'll know. You know, cut me some slack here. This being December 9th, 2017, 1:05 a.m. East Coast time. So that you know when the Lord puts out this video 3 weeks later, what happened.
Less than 3 weeks. I'll get on it. I'll be on it.
Oh God, no! Now he's on this list. Get out of here. I don't have prison thoughts.
Hey man, technically she's over 1,000 years old.
Oh, nope. Gonna just put a big old sack of nope right there. Hold on. Oh, these are all like really old or really new. Like these are like I'm scrolling through the list right now, at least the one I'm looking at, and it's all like the very first characters ever made, or like the one game I haven't really gotten through yet, which is Fates. I don't know who any of these people are. All right. Side note: I don't know if it's a waifu. I guess even saying that is creepy, but I like Sakura. I just
Okay.
think
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah,
I like her.
You've said that before.
Yeah, she's just a sweet little thing. Brings hope into that horrible, horrible world.
Gotcha. You have a 4 and a 5?
Hold on, scrolling through this list. No. Oh god, I hate Astrid. Get out of here. Oh man, was I stupid? Tana's on that list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 5? What list are we looking at here?
It's just the wiki.
Oh, there's actually like an actual category of female characters in Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Loki power creeping Camilla in the looks department in the Chestal region?
I mean, I'm not surprised. That's just sort of how it's gonna be. I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, there's 2 reasons why that happened.
Oh, do you not like Lynn?
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I liked her character and everything, but you know, it was just kind of there. I realized like she's like one of the big fan favorites and everything, but I don't know, wasn't it for me?
I feel like you like Sheeta though. Am I wrong?
Kind of like her. She's alright.
Okay.
I think I'm hesitant to say, oh, you know, I liked her character because I'm suffering through Shadow Dragon right now.
Okay. Hey, she's one of the better. She's one of the better units in Shadow Dragon.
No, she's a very good unit. I just associate her with just Shadow Dragon. And it's, you know, a lot of it's not even Shadow Dragon's fault. You know, it's a decent game, but
I know you like Leith.
Who?
I think we used to call her Lethy.
Leffy.
Orange-haired cat chick from Path of Radiance. She was with her bro Mordecai.
Oh, I liked her because she was OP. Yeah. No, she ain't no waifu. She's a cat person. Outta here.
You racist.
No, I don't think I can attribute any kind of malice towards a race, only your hair color. And it's really simple. If your hair color is pink, you're not a human being.
She has orange hair.
Yeah, so she's fine.
Oh, okay.
If you have pink hair and your name starts with the letter M, you're functionally not a human being.
Okay, so Roger's a human being then.
I mean, more so than others.
You know, the Wolf Queen of Radiant Dawn, she was pretty... For her time, she was pretty... she's a looker. for back when Fire Emblem wasn't Waifu Emblem, she was a pretty solid waifu.
See, that's the thing. Everybody says it wasn't Waifu Emblem. I think it was always Waifu.
I know, it's definitely just played up more.
Well,
you know?
you can just recognize more than a few pixels and, like, dialogues now.
Sure.
You know what? Go ahead and throw Tiki on there, too. Why not?
Oh, wait a minute. You think you'll get... Oh, adult Tiki. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, God, no. Whoa. Hang on now. Whoa. Hold on. Let me just make sure my phones aren't tapped and, like, and it says not listening.
Is that sirens I hear in the background? Do you hear that?
Yeah, no, the adult one. Oh, and I do mean that, too. Like, you look at Heroes, the artwork for the kid is stupid.
Oh, so that child unit you're not attracted to? The other ones, though?
No. Actually, no, and no to the way you phrased that, no. I'm good. And Nick does the same thing. He's like, I hate this game, it's for weebs, I don't get it. And yet the next day, he'll have his Excel spreadsheet with all of his characters mapped out, and he'll be like, so what skills and seals do I put on my Brave Lynn? And it's like, you just told me that, you know, you hate this game, and you haven't played it in weeks, and you haven't thought about it once. And yet I see this, like, 500 tab Excel sheet done, or whatever it is. Like, give me a break. You ain't fooling no one.
Little intro line. Very quick.
Hey guys, it's Stevie with Lucky Crit, and we're here to talk about some Fire Emblem today.
That was so good, I'm not going to do a real one.
Oh, really?
No, I'm joking.
Aw.
Yes, I'm also on Sesame Street.